if you got your shitting pants on.
Because you are about to shit your pants.
A jelly donut?
I'm your Huckleberry.
You're not looking at the big picture. You're not looking at the big picture.
After all, it is medulla oblongata.
Hey everybody, welcome to The Big Picture. I am Michael Sargent, and I've got some things to say today. And first off, let me just start out with this. We're going to kind of call this show the Oppression Show. And let me break this all down to you so everybody, just gets a basic understanding of where we're going here today. This is almost going to be, in a sense, a rant. The connection with photography is going to largely be in part over the effect of how certain actions have affected me. Yeah, I know. It's all about me, right? So here's the thing. There's your shout out, Mr. Leffler. Here's what happened this week. I received a phone call, and it was from an organization, the CEO from a company that I had done some work for in the past. And what is interesting and kind of troubling at the same time is some information that was provided to me. And realistically, I don't know what the real intent was, whether or not it was just to inform me of this or in some way try to manipulate, my behavior. Because let's face it, anybody who really knows me knows that I am conservative. And yes, we are going to be kind of political this week. All right. So let me lay it out to you this way. I have no problem expressing my opinions on, my political views based on the results of certain individuals that happen to be in power at any given time during my lifetime. And, it goes back from when I really could start to understand how politics works, right up until now. And you always see these things repeat themselves. So I'm not going to make no bones about it. I personally feel that, Barack Obama was one of the worst presidents in the world, that we've ever had in history. He did more to destroy America than he ever did to do anything good here. My doggie's having a shit fit right now, so you may hear her bark or make some noise about one thing or another. But she's upset about it too. So here's what happened, and this is the reality of the situation. I received this phone call, and it was brought to my attention that there was a media organization that, a local media organization that used one of my photographs. Okay. The photograph was taken for a project with a company that I did work for, and that was all cool. And there was never any official contract between me and the other party. It was just it was a gig, more or less. They asked me to take some photos. I took the photos. They're still my photos. I own them. I allow certain media outlets to use my photographs, with credit. Well, unfortunately, my photograph was used, and there was no credit given. And it was brought to light to me that the reason why, they didn't want my name, associated with that organization, because they didn't want people to think that I worked for them. And the reason why they didn't want people to think that I worked for that organization was because of my conservative viewpoints. I've had no problem using colorful metaphors in the past and on this show when it comes to descriptive information that I may have, said about, certain politicians and politics in general being so corrupt. It's a known fact that I'm not a fan of Andrew Cuomo. I think that this guy is truly on the verge of being what is known as a dictator. He's broken several laws, wasted millions of dollars of New York State taxpayer dollars on his little projects and personal agendas, and he's not held accountable currently, which several of his staff members have been indicted on criminal charges, but Andrew Cuomo to date has not. We like to call him Teflon Andy, okay, in certain circles. But based on the fact that I do have these viewpoints, and so I can elaborate on this, I want people to understand something. A year ago, there was a lot of bad things happening in this country. And you can contribute these bad things to the policies of one Barack Obama and his administration. This country was a mess. It still is a mess. And I am tired of, individuals saying that our current president is riding the wave. It's the aftermath of the Obama economy, because it's not true. It is not true at all. People that think that, I truly believe they just seem to have a very hard time accepting the fact that we have a president in office right now that is doing everything and putting the people of this country first. Disagree with me. That's fine. I don't expect people to agree with me. I know that there's a lot of people out there that, and I'm not saying that I'm a scholar, but there is a lot of people out there that they don't know history. They are just not intelligent on the facts. So, and that's not meant to be derogatory, but what was elaborated, what was communicated to me during all this was, the fact that there are media outlets or groups that won't, use any of my work, although my work is better than some of the staff that they currently employ their work. And that's a fact. Was complimented that was recently put into the paper without any credit. It was stated as fact that was the best that this facility had looked ever, and it was due to the way that I photographed the facility itself. So I don't know how to feel about this. I mean, there is some copyright laws that I can look at here and definitely do something about if I wanted to, if I were petty like that. First off, let me say this. To any media company that has not purchased, but hired me to do jobs for them, okay? They need to understand first and foremost, and this is after conferring with my legal counsel. Granted, you are allowed to use my photographs with credit. You do not own them. They are still my photographs. I still have rights to them. And I can pull those rights at any given time. There is no contract, okay? So first off, let's get that established. Unless you purchase the photos and the rights to the photos, which is going to cost you substantially more than what I was paid to do the jobs. That's how it is. And it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. There's copyright laws, okay? And several of these copyright laws, if I chose to push, an agenda here, I could, easily, win suit. I'm not about that, though. What I am about is some fairness. And in all fairness, something that, I learned through conversation was the fact that apparently these media outlets do not want me associated with them because of my conservative views. So that basically means that what we are dealing with here is liberal media, or opinionated or one-sided media. And if you look at the big picture here, that in itself is what is known as oppression, okay? People can disagree with that, but I'm watching right now the Colin Kaepernick lawsuit against the NFL, basically because he said that owners and people had conspired against him to keep him out of the league, did not want to give him a job. Now, that may be true. It could be true in my case, but this has been the thing, and there's been several debated topics with, friends of mine who are of liberal persuasion. That does not make me hate them. What it basically means is that I disagree with their thought process, and that's all good. It makes for interesting conversation between us. What happens, though, is there are times where we have heated discussions, and they become heated because there are times where people are proven wrong. And when they're proven wrong, nobody likes to be wrong. It's that old saying, the truth hurts. The truth is, the upswing in our economy, the jobs coming back to this country, they're not the aftermath of the Obama economy. They are a direct result of what Donald Trump has done with renegotiating trade deals, negotiating with big companies to give them tax breaks so they can set shop back up here in this country to get people back to work. Unemployment, actual figures, not the, figures that we used to see during the Obama administration, but the actual numbers. We are at an all-time low for unemployment. And that's not even a full year into this guy's presidency. So what I'm going to say here is I think things are changing, and I think, this so-called blue wave that is being expected during the midterm elections, I don't think it's going to happen. I think what you're going to see is more of what you saw in the presidential election. People are tired of the liberal agenda, and what we've all seen, by media, is the fact that everything Donald Trump has done as president, people have fought him on, or politicians have fought him on. The people who do not want to work, who want to continue to receive government handouts, they're the ones that want to see this president fail. And in my mind, it's like, why would you want to see any president fail? If the president fails, we fail. I didn't want to see Barack Obama fail, but it will go down in history that he was a failure as a president, right? Now, I didn't want to make this show all about politics, but what I did definitely want to touch on is because I'm sitting here looking at this and saying and being told that because we have a liberal-controlled media, they don't want to use my photos or have me associated with their papers. Listen, I am not a journalist, a journalistic photographer. I do something completely different. There has been jobs that I've done, gigs, where I go out and photograph certain architectural structures or certain plant operations, and those things are basically used to promote businesses. So, interestingly enough, I really have to wonder about the agendas of certain people, because a few years ago, there was a complete flop on the stance of what this media company was doing. And I'm going to be honest with you, people. I really don't care about certain agendas. What I care about is people in this country being able to go to work, make a decent paycheck, and support their families, and prosper, and do a little bit in life. That's what it's really supposed to be all about. And what we have right now with, certain entities and what they think and what they want is, I'm going to give you a prime example. Nancy Pelosi. This woman is absolutely, out of her frickin' mind. I want you to, go look at her district, the district that she represents. Maxine Waters. There's another one. Go look at the districts they represent. They're terrible. They're terrible shape. They're crime-ridden. People are there's homeless. I mean, it's absolutely insane. And now we get on the topic of gun control. Here in New York State, Andrew Cuomo has a SAFE Act 2 he wants to enact. And, there is an agenda to disarm the American people. It's not right, and I think that before you see that happen, you will see civil war. Perhaps I'm wrong. I just know this much. We've had, and there's a lot of questions whether some of these school shootings were even real, if they weren't staged. We don't know. We're not going to get the truth, especially seeing how biased the media is, towards, certain political factions. And now, I have to stick by my guns with that because the way I see it right now, I'm a victim of that. My photos will not be used in certain media outlets because of my conservative standpoints and me voicing my opinions. What I shouldn't be able to exercise my right, freedom of speech, and keep my mouth shut just so I get photography work that, these people don't want to pay for in the first place. This is why, I changed my path in photography years ago. Doing journalistic stuff just didn't pay anything. Being on assignment never paid anything. And it wasn't enough to, really support your family. So that's why things changed for me. But, I'm a pretty good photographer when it comes to doing, certain landscapes and even, macro photography, wildlife photography. Those are all, hobbies of mine. I go for walks, not so much anymore, but, I used to go for walks and I would just photograph all the, insects, flowers, reptiles, whatever I could find. I'd get right up on them and like snapping turtles' eyes, get right up in their face and catch that ring of fire in their eye. Those were all things that I enjoyed. So I'm sitting here thinking about all this and saying, you've really got to be kidding me here because I can take a great photo of something and it should be in the news, but it isn't. And I'm criticized for that. I'm being, oppressed because I have a conservative viewpoint. That was kind of the first eye-opener. Second eye-opener is there are some things that I need to get much, much better at. And I will. I have some plans in place and some things that I'm currently working on, re-educating myself, redeveloping photography workflows, and using different software. Here's a little note for people. Adobe Lightroom. I believe the latest version that you could have on your computer is 6. Well, something I want to point out, my 5D Mark IV would not tether with Adobe Lightroom. And there was a lot of, questions as to why. Well, apparently they don't support the 5D Mark IV. I know the 5D Mark III worked. I know the Canon 5D SR worked. I know there were several other camera bodies that would work in Lightroom 6. But unfortunately, 5D Mark IV does not. So I had to reevaluate my ideology and my process with actually using Lightroom. And I'm in the process of that now. So there's lots of things, that change in photography, and, trying to stay up on it is tough. And I see now why so many photographers actually go out and use outside editing services because they just want to shoot. I mean, and I get it. Like, if you're a good photographer and you get a good image right out of camera, okay, which is where you should be shooting for in the first place, trying to get the perfect shot in camera. And let's face it, if you didn't have to do any editing at all on that photo, that would be amazing. But unfortunately you do, and what happens is so many photographers are doing more shooting and then outside editing, using outside editing companies. Now for me, you've heard me talk about Clipping Path on this before. Because they've been such a pain in the ass, I would never ever use Clipping Path, okay? That's just my statement. But there has been times in the past where I have shot so many photos and had to edit those photos that I would have considered using an outside editing company to help me get through the workflow. Because there's been a lot of changes to my operation this year, the way that I do business with people. And unfortunately, things were dictated. I had to do things this way. Okay. I think the big thing is people don't seem to understand that this is a business and I have to run it as such. I can't be the nice guy all the time. And basically, after what I learned this week, I won't be the nice guy. It's not worth it for me to be a nice guy. Sure. Am I, kind of outrageous sometimes on political stance? Sure I am. But a lot of times it's basically to prove a point. It doesn't mean that I don't have empathy for certain individuals that may be of a different persuasion than me that are actually struggling. No, I'm a very giving individual, and I always have tried to help. We'll probably continue to try to help certain individuals if they want help, if they're willing to help themselves. But in my mind, what I'm looking at anymore is the fact that being a nice guy in business is just not going to get it done. And, there's things that we all need to improve on. There's things that I need to improve on, and I will. It's that simple. I have my genres, that I like to shoot in, and I have them locked down. They're pretty good for me. We're always looking to get better. So anyway, I wanted to bring this up, and what's funny is I was kind of asked not to talk about this, but why shouldn't I? It's like, where's the difference? If a media outlet doesn't want to use my work because of who I am, well, fuck them. That's the way I look at it. They can go fuck themselves. I don't need, local media outlets to push my work forward. The work itself does that, and the people that my clients that come in to see me and have me do their photographs, they're the ones that push me forward. That's basically how it works. So while we're talking about, word of mouth and all this other stuff, I recently mentioned that a short time ago I did something that I had never done before, and that was do a Facebook ad. Okay. And what's crazy is, it was never my thing, and the Facebook ad was not about getting likes to my page. I'm not really interested in it's either you like it or you don't. That's people's opinion. Okay, people have a right to their opinion. So what I want to basically go over here is the fact that I did do the ad. Who would have thunk it? But I was, given some results, on that specific ad. And it's still, active. It's still going on. And I will kind of give you the numbers here. So basically what happened was my one-day click, 15 link clicks on my ad. Over the course of 7 days, I had 129 links, clicks. The lifetime of the ad, I've had 358 clicks on my ad. Okay. And what's amazing is my ad was basically geared towards, athletes, people with certain interests. And it's funny because it's like when you look at the click results, only 31 women, which would, I don't want to say it's troubling, but I know there's a lot of women out there that are athletic, and let's face it, what woman does not like to be photographed, especially in their element? So that's something that I evaluated. Men, 326 men clicked on my link. With women, I reached 516 different women. Men, I reached 7,987. So turnover on that is actually pretty good. Ages for all this, 24 link clicks between the ages of 13 and 17. Received 151 link clicks from people 18 to 24, and 25 to 34-year-olds gave me 123 link clicks. And what I'm really happy about is to see the 35 to 44-year-old crowd. They gave me 60. I reached 1,225 people between the ages of 35 and 44. I reached 3,222 between 25 and 34 years of age. So what is cool about that is when you look at the numbers, 18 to 24, I received 3,118. So my ideal market is between 18 and 34 years of age. So, there's things that you can learn from all this. And when you look at, locations, go Canada. I received a lot of information in Canada, which is really cool. New York, there was a lot of interaction. Pennsylvania, a lot of interaction. A little bit in New Jersey, a little bit in Ohio, and a little bit in West Virginia. So, it reached out there. That's pretty cool. One last thing I'm going to touch on. It's about haters be hating. And crazy enough, I had a hater this week. Okay. And I got to tell you, I was quite surprised. And me being the guy that I am, I decided, okay, well, you know what? Let's put it out there. Let's get it right out there. But there's a guy from Canada. His name is Jay Goncalves. Okay. And he left a comment regarding my ad that said that the narrator or the voice of the narrator sounded like a rapist. So, I didn't appreciate that. I thought that was kind of just immature. And, I sent the guy a message, and it just said, very rude and immature comment you left, and I wish you the best of luck in life. His response, eat a bag of hot dicks. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to eat a bag of hot dicks, okay? So anyway, I did what I do best, and I screenshotted his really immature behavior, and I got quite a few comments on it. Snap, what a pathetic loser. Nothing brings a group of assholes together faster than something that's none of their fucking business. There will be something on this page that offends you. Don't be a little fucking bitch about it. Many idiots out there. A couple years ago, I posted in YouTube videos of high school mixed chorus singing at Christmas concert. I got several comments about how bad they were. These are kids that people were ragging on. When it was explained that it was posted for friends, they even responded harder. It made the guy feel that it wasn't worth posting. One of my favorite comments, and I don't know if she'll hear this, but oh baby, she put, "Wow, what an asshole. Sorry he did that. She's cooler than hell. Wow, how ignorant." And another one of my favorites. Question: where does one find a hot bag of dicks exactly? Since he is a beholder of such great knowledge and clearly is the beholder of a hot bag of dicks, I think you see where I'm going with that. This world is being devoured by people like this. Michael, you are the best. Continue the great job. It's almost like you own a restaurant. Never stop being you, Mike. So, there was some support out there for my old ass on this whole topic. So, I guess you never know what's going to happen. And it's actually incredible to me that, we have people out here that are like that. It's like, what a bunch of little bitches.
Bitch.
I don't do anything to anybody, to be negative or cause problems for people, unless I have to. But, for the most part, I'm pretty laid back and easygoing about a lot of things. So anyway, I'm running a little over time. I got to clean it up, but I think we're going to be done for this week. I just wanted to share this with everybody, and if anybody has any feedback on it or experienced anything similar, you can email me at thebigpicture@mrsargent.com. That's thebigpicture@mrsargent.com. Okay, people, I've got to get out. Thanks again for listening. We'll see you next week.
Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that.